everybody and welcome to the playthrough for Pro Division in the Glenmonarch 9-hole cup. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. So let's go. Hole the number 1, downhill 10%. We do need to add, as we do over adjust our shot here, playing with a katana, which gives me power 2 and side spin 3. I do like to play with a side spin 3 ball here, as for the wind being left to right. And sure, this could be easier, obviously, to play with a power 3 ball. But the thing that I'm doing here instead is that I'm do go with a max adjustment, and then I adjust my rings, and then I push up my target into max distance in the end and go with a little bit of overpower. You can see I used a little bit of curl to the left as well. That is more or less just to compensate for a grate to the right. We are getting the ball up here very nicely now, and as for the drive, as I said from the start, we over adjusted 10%. Spin was max top spin, which is 4.5 bars on an extra mile level 7, and also for the side spin I use as much as I possible could combined with the top spin. So I'm adding the top spin first, then I add as much side spin to the left possible. Now this approach is going to be a lovely one. I really enjoy this one, and I think this is going to be a hole where you will see a decent amount of players making an eagle. So if you do feel that you're going to win this tournament, I think this is going to be a hole where you kind of, not maybe a must, but it's very close to it at least. We do have a short iron towards the pin here. And I like here to use the fairway before the green starts. The reason for that is that I feel that is the most consistent spot when adjusting for the shot and also the ball to roll there. So I'm in complete minimum distance here, and I'm using a 10% under adjustment. Very important here. So we do need to under adjust our shot because we're playing it uphill. No top spin, no back spin. I'm relying on the ball guideline here. My thorn has a good ball guideline, but even though you have a lower level thorn, the green works in that way that it actually gives you a very nice ball guideline to work with. So we are going to go to hole number 2 after this lovely little boom. And on this hole here, I'm going to play with, as you can see here, the blue ring by the rough line. 2.5 bar backspin is what I do want, and then I'm adjusting, like you can see that I'm aiming directly at the pin, and then in the end I'm going to play with a max distance adjustment with a 20% over adjustment. So we do need to add 20% as we're playing it downhill, and that is going to be 7.5 ring ish. So you do need to make sure that you're adjusting for the full 20% there. But even though you can still see here that I'm coming in a little bit to the right of the pin, very close though, so we do need a little bit more. So I do think that we do need to add that just a little tad more, and then we should be fine. Or we just start with our adjustment a little bit to the left of the cup instead. Hole number 3 here, this is going to be a tough one, and here you can see me messing up the drive, but I'm going to talk us through this hole anyway. And the thing is here, the reason I'm playing with a 1 bar of top spin here and also side spin, or I'm not using top spin, I'm using 1 side spin, is that I'm trying to go and play a very aggressive shot which bites me in the butt. Because I do hit great to the right. There isn't that many ways to get this ball close to the top except for doing a max overpowered shot and bounce over the rough and the sand. Now I ended up in the sand, which is totally terrible, but you can see the trick there. I'm using 1 bar side spin to the left as I don't want to have more side spin. Like if I do have more side spin to the left and I hit great left, then I'm gonna be in the rough to the left side. Because like as I've talked about this one on when I'm streaming and also other situations when I'm coaching, it's like here is a situation where if we play it safe, we're still not going to be able to reach for the green in 2. So we do need to take a risk, but the risk could bite us in the butt as it did now for myself, and I could in that case not be able to reach for the green in 2. But if I take a risk and I make a good drive, then I can reach for the green in 2. So it basically just that little opportunity I'm looking for. I don't really enjoy going for a double bounce over the rough and the sand there on the side. It's because we do not have that much topspin with extra mile level 7, only having 4.5 bars. So for those of you having more topspin, there might be a better way to maybe roll your ball further, but then you do have the risk of doing as our opponent did there, to roll into the rough. We do need to over adjust 10% for the drive. And even though you do get into the rough or into the sand, or you get to a spot where you cannot reach the green in two, then you will just have to lay up. Do like both me and our opponent is doing. We lay up, and then we're going to approach the pin from distance. It's still going to give us an opportunity, but it's not going to be a good opportunity at all. So now we do have a long iron, and I'm going to go for the rough bump. I'm using max side spin to the right with half a bar of backspin. I do think in the end here that this is the better approach than trying to go directly at the green here. And we are going to play the third shot under adjusted as well. So the drive, it's over adjusted 10%. The second shot, nothing. The third shot is going to be under adjusted 10%. Unfortunately, I do make too much of my adjustment here, and I just slightly missed to the right. But I wanted to show this video here for y'all that are playing in pro that, you know, we need to take a risk with the drive no matter what. And we need to be, you know, if we're playing with overpower, which many of us will do, then we need to be like spot on with that. We cannot make a mistake like I did there. And therefore, we in the end ended up missing that one and making a birdie. If you make an eagle on that one, it's going to be definitely a plus compared to your opponents. Hole number 4 here, very interesting hole. I really enjoy it. I think this is one of my favorite ones of the part 3, because you can see there's a funnel there. We go with 1 bar topspin, and I'm using the red ring just slightly inside the fringe, and then I'm going to play it maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. So max distance 10%, which is going to give myself 5.7 rings with a navigator as a ball. We hit the ball perfect, but you're going to see here now that I'm going to bounce nicely, but I'm going to just miss this cup to the left side, just slightly. So the thing that I would like us to do is that I would like us to actually move our target as a start a little bit more to the left, so we do have a better starting point more to the left there instead, because the problem for us there is that the kick we get is coming from the right side of the green. So the more to the left, the less kick we're getting. So that's going to be interesting. Hole number 5. Here I'm going to show you 2 ways, or like 2 approaches. We're still going to try to get over. First, for those of you having lower level Apocalypse or even higher level Apocalypse, I would say Apocalypse level 2 is on the edge to be a little bit too little. I'm trying to use the max top spin, max side spin, and as much curl as possible. And the thing that happens here now is that I'm going to get over. It's going to be close, and I'm gonna get over and get into the rough. We do need to aim a little bit closer to the side, but also I don't think that with the topspin we're having we can clear the rough completely. Unfortunately, this just is what it is. So in this case here now is that an Apocalypse is not something that all of you players playing in pro are having. So in the end here I'm going to show you a power hook with an extra mile level 6. And have in mind that an extra mile level 6 is different than it is for extra mile level 7 and level 8. It's because you do have a different amount of curl and also a different accuracy, which will give you a different type of adjustment here. So the thing that we do now when we get into the rough trying to get over with an Apocalypse is that we do approach the pin with a rough iron. This is an opportunity, don't get me wrong, but I do believe that, of course, being on the fairway in some sort is going to be a better opportunity than shooting it in from the rough. So, you guys, once again, with a lower level Apocalypse, you can try to get over using the max curl. It's going to be tight. You might going to want to aim a little bit closer to the rough line than I did from the start, and hope you clip the rough and roll out. If you do have a higher level Apocalypse, you can go with the max curl there, which is going to be a little bit more than I do have on Apocalypse level 2. And with max topspin, you're gonna clear the rough, you're going to get the ball most likely very close towards the green. 10% over adjustment for the drive, very important when we do that. So let's go. Unfortunately, I don't have any real recordings for the power hook, so I'm going to show you two replays, the same replay twice. So we're going to start with that we're going to go with max topspin and also as much side spin to the left possible with a katana, a power 2 ball, because I don't want us to go with something in between. We do want to go with max overpower, max curl with a extra mile level 6, and then go with a power hook. You can see the target. We're aiming for the cutoff of the darker rough, like the darker of the darker rough out there to the right. So for those of you that think this was going too fast, I agree with you. Pause the video, rewind, take a look at where my position is. When it comes to the power hook with an extra mile level 6, I do go after 11 rings as for adjustment, and with extra mile level 7 or level 8 I would go around 14 rings to do that instead. We're getting it over there more nicely, and I was happy that I will be able to at least give you a shot there with an extra mile to try to get over. Extra mile level 7 and a power 5 ball. Here it's time to play with a power 5 ball that you do get from the golden shot. If you don't have that, then you're gonna lay up. Then you're just gonna play it as it is and just lay up before the bunker. But with a power 5 ball, we are able to clear the rough and the sand line with an extra mile level 5 plus, in my opinion. Using max topspin, which is 4.5 bar topspin with an extra mile level 7, and then just go full blast overpower down there. We will have to over adjust 10% for the drive, super important, and so that we're not forgetting about doing that. A power 5 ball might be too much for players playing pro, but I want to add that as an aggressive adjustment here for hole number 6, because we're looking for an eagle. And if you're having a Marlin like our opponent, or where you're playing with a Titan or a Kingmaker, a power 3 ball, you will not be able to clear the rough with an extra mile level 7. You're gonna, in best case scenario, you're gonna clip the rough and then gonna be on the very bottom part of the fairway, and that's not going to make a difference either. So I would like you to just have that in mind. If you do have an extra mile and you do have a power 5 ball, use that one, get over, because then we do have actually a chance to get this ball to the green in 2. Second shot needs distance as well. We're using the big dog, which is the club that gives me the most distance on this account. So I'm using 5 bars of topspin. I would say remove and play with 4 bars. I think that's gonna be enough. Max side spin to the right, and then we're going to go with max curl to the right as well. And that it's going to be a shot where the ball is going to get up to the green and it's going to fall down and still give you, even if you come in a little bit too hot, it's still going to give you a nice little putt for an eagle. So once again, if you are having a club with a limited amount of power, like an extra mile level 7 and below, then a power 5 ball is a must. A power 3 ball could be good playing with an Apocalypse level 4 plus, or maybe with an extra mile level 8. I haven't tried, but I would guess that would be okay. So a nice eagle for hole number 6 there, and now we go over to hole number 7. Hole number 7 is a hole where I've seen so many people drop the shot in the water that it's just insane. And the thing that we're going to do here is that we do need to over adjust 20% with our sniper. 20%, that's a lot, but it's crucial. Otherwise, we're going to most likely drop that shot into the water. We are playing with the sniper. The sniper is the best club for par 3s. You can see me use that on all the par 3s here in this one. And we are being very close to maximum distance here with a power 1 ball. And as you can see here now, using the navigator, I'm not using any top, any backspin, any side spin. Blue ring by the rough line, and I played maximum distance plus 20%. So it's, even though I'm not completely max distance, I'm still using a max distance adjustment. And that is going to give ourselves around 7.8 rings when it comes to our adjustment here. And we get the ball to bounce. And we like the camera angle here, and it's roll, let's roll. Come on then, get in, get in, get in. Boom, nice little one. And that is definitely something that you can go and replicate. There isn't that many technicalities in this adjustment here. The only important part, once again, 20% extra is is the important part. So playing with a power 2 ball here, but then I noticed the wind that I will have to go max overpower playing with a katana. So I changed to a titan. I can do that. I do have a bunch of titans. If you don't have that, then you will of course have to go with max overpower with, if so, a katana. The thing that I do want to do is to go straight forward to get my shot perfectly aligned with the wind. You can see the wind, that is kind of, it's an absolute perfect wind to approach the pin, because we have a straight headwind that if we just can get the ball past the rough on the left, on the right there, and put ourselves up there in the middle. The drive is going to be downhill 10%. We do need to over adjust, as otherwise we won't be hitting the spot where we are aiming for. I'm using also 4.5 bar topspin, which is the max amount of topspin on X mile level 7, combined with the 4.5 bar side spin to the right, which is the maximum side spin with a Titan ball. Our opponent is choosing to play the right side, but please don't. Please don't. The reason for that is that you're gonna have a straight crosswind for the approach. Why not play on the left side? Give yourself a straight headwind approach. It's so much easier to get that ball in the hole if you do that. That is something to think about. Think one step ahead. Like, what do I want to do for my second shot? The drive that our opponent is doing is very good. There's nothing wrong with that. But he puts himself up in a position where he needs to, he makes it harder for himself than he could be by playing on the left. 6.6, and you can see that we have a very straight wind. We have just a little of angled wind here, and that we could compensate by going with more overpower the next time. I'm going to aim straight at the pin, no top spin, no back spin, no side spin. Not going to make it anything else. I'm not going to complicate it more than what it should be. So I'm playing here in medium distance of my club, and just going to take my shot, and we're gonna see a lovely little eagle. I've dropped a lot of shots here in Pro, and I think that the round that I played, the holes here, is definitely something that I will use a lot in when I make my adjustment for the updated text guides, because you can get updated text guides for the 9-hole cup also, and by signing up on patreon.com/golf-tommy. More information on golf-tommy.com, or if you want to read about it first. So, hole number 9, last but not least, 15% downhill for the drive, 1 bar topspin, as much side spin to the left possible, and here I stretch out so my red ring is touching the top rough, and then I adjust from overpowered position, and last but not least I'm going with as much curl that I possibly can, and that I would with every club. Not just with an extra mile, I would do that with an apocalypse as well. We do need distance for the drive, sure, but most of all, we do need distance for the second shot. And therefore, a power 3 ball is going to be something that you do want to go with. We got it over there nicely. Make sure you're not using too much topspin, because that's a very common mistake on this hole, is that you're using 3-4 bars topspin, because you feel that, yo, I just want to clear the water. You just want to clear the water, but then you go into the rough or into the sand on the back, on the back of the fairway instead. And that is something that still will not make you reach the green in 2. So 1 bar topspin, and then you're gonna be fine. Good shot from our opponent as well. A little bit too much to the right though. And the reason we're using side spin left and curl to the left and not just going straight over is because we are going to go to the left now, or like when we're approaching the pin. From this angle, we're gonna go to the left. So the thing we're going to do here is that I'm using the, as you can see, 6.5 bar topspin. 6.5 bar, 6.5 in wind is what we're having. Oh my god! Max side spin to the left, going to play with half a bar of backspin, and I'm going to stretch out, and I'm going to play with overpower here, because I feel that with overpower it's going to be easier to then, if so, use backspin instead of going with a lot of topspin and then risk having the ball to roll over the green completely. The second shot here I play under adjusted. The drive 15% over adjusted. The second shot 10% under adjusted. So minus 10%. We get there, very happy with the eagle. and very happy with the round overall. So this was the playthrough for Pro Division. Time stamps in the video description down below. Find all the content for the Glenmonarch 9-hole cup on golfclashtommy.com. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the 9-hole cup.